The final 15-minute race then ready to go for the 2025 Focus Cup here, of course, at Oulton Park. It was a fantastic race earlier on the day that Leo Paniatau was able to take victory from Lewis Clark, and they're all ready to go racing once again. Ali Topley dominating the ZTEC category. Let's take a look at the starting grid, of course. Jonathan Baker will be starting from the pole position in this one after what was a pretty exciting previous race. He ended up finishing in 6th position in category. It's Baker from Craig Appleton. Simon Watts will be on the second row of the grid ahead of Ian Mitchell, who'll be starting from 4th place. Then it will be Lewis Clark, Leo Paniatau, after a bit of drama in the previous race, will be starting ahead of Oulton. Then we'll have a bit of a break back, and then we'll start with the ZTEC category, where Adam Winter will be starting from the pole position. Then it's Ian Howard and Simon Langford, Ian Graham and Craig Ballantyne, before we'll get the next row, which will see Ali Topley. A dominant victory. Can he do so from 6th position on the grid, or 13th in the overall? Katrina Gray will be starting alongside Matthew Croft, and Richard Wynn will be starting back there as well in 16th spot. Mark McCann will be starting from 17th alongside Darren Rickaby. Richard Hall will be starting alongside Sarah Hall, before we'll get to the final few rows of the grid, which sees Abby Walton, Ben Pemberton and Cameron Ferrero-McKenzie starting from the final row of the grid. They're all racing their way around, getting themselves in position, getting themselves heated up in the right way, ready for one final 15 minutes of racing in what is effectively golden hour. Sun's not quite setting, but you know, it's low. It's good for the photographers to get shots at this kind of time. It looks great. Of course, the conditions very similar to the race that we had earlier on in the day. Warm, well, you know, relatively speaking, warm to hot. You know, the mid-20s. Decent amount of wind. Not that much cloud coverage. The lack of cloud coverage means the track gets quite hot itself. The track temperature will be up to around 28 degrees or so, maybe even a low 30. Unlikely to be a low 30, but you know, 28, 29 degrees, that kind of area means that you do slide around a little bit on the circuit. So they're all moving their way into positions. Of course, for those further down the order in the ZTEC category, things can be difficult with that start being all the way uphill into the first corner. You've got to even begin that rise up the hill. Can be very, very difficult. The green flag has been waved at the back, the green flag in the middle, and that means the starter is ready to go. They hold the boards aloft and they get themselves ready for one final race here in the Oulton Park grounds. Of course, for the Focus Cup, they race their way down to the first corner, and once again, it's a brilliant start from the number 10, Jonathan Baker, holding on then from Appleton as they race their way into that first turn. Already Clark's up to 3rd position in the ST250 category as they head their way through the first turn in ZTECs as well. Where can Ali Topley find themselves after a dominant performance in race number 1 earlier on in the day? Will there be another dominant performance in race number 2? Through the first turn and the second turn, we've got here Lewis Clark trying to fend off at the moment the number 81 of Mitchell. Really had to fend off, and Mitchell was on the grass there a little bit, trying to lift off the car. I think there might be a bit of drama. And Leo Paniatau's gone very wide. Got to keep the throttle in there as they head their way through Island Bend. Where is Paniatau ended up in all of that? Is he still on the road? No, he's not. I haven't seen him. Paniatau, there's a yellow flag out, and I wonder if Leo Paniatau has had a bit of an issue there. Was running out wide as they were heading their way through the Island Bend, and then didn't appear with the rest of the field. So you can do the maths on that. I'm certainly not smart enough. But one thing to note, it is Baker leading from Appleton, from Clark. There is Leo Paniatau, and there has been a hit on the barrier. I can see some damage on the front left, so I'm assuming it's gone head first into the barrier. You can see a bit of scuffing as well on the right-hand side. I think we're going to see a fair amount of damage. There you go. So the front left has been in. I think it's gone in and then slightly rotated round, and you can see the rear right light as well has also been broken off. So Paniatau off the road. Oops is all that can be said to that. Unfortunately, it was one that we could probably see happening from a little bit away. As soon as you dip two wheels onto the grass going through the island bend, it's always going to happen. Which then gives this driver here, Lewis Clark, the perfect opportunity to once again build and maintain a huge championship margin. Trying to get past Appleton, trying to get past Baker, trying to get back up into the race lead and take a victory, which, of course, Paniatau was the one that was victorious earlier on in the day. Head their way through the first corner. And the order at the moment, Baker, then Appleton, then Clark, then Mitchell, then Watts, before we'll get the leader of the ZTEC category in 6th position overall. We'll head back to it because Ali Topley's just got straight down the inside of Graham. That is for 2nd position. So Topley in the Power Max car up now into 2nd spot as they flick their way through the right-hander and then down onto the brakes into the left-hander. It's Topley in 2nd. It's Winter in the lead of the ZTEC category. It's Graham now down into 3rd. Lewis Clark's gone out wide here. So I wonder if he tried looking down the inside and went out quite wide there. Has he got a puncture on the front left? Is that, or is that just my eye? I think it's my eye. I'm panicking. That's fine. Yes, I'm pretty sure the car's fine. It just looked very low on that front left compared to where I'd normally expect it. But I think he might be all right. Either way, he's going to try and work his way past here on Appleton. As he definitely wouldn't be able to make this move if he had a puncture because he'd go straight on here. So we're fine. Just a little bit of drama to be added there for you. Appleton and Clark still battling for 2nd and 3rd. It's allowed Baker to run away into the distance, and that gap has now grown to well over a 2nd. As here comes Clark straight around the outside. Lewis Clark trying to make that move, trying to get over 2nd position. They drop into Druids, they flick it through the right-hander. Excellent move coming in then from Lewis Clark. That was well planned out as they'd race their way up the hill at Clay Hill out of Knickerbrook. And Lewis Clark up the order, back then into the ZTEC category. Some of those positions a little bit further down the category, 6th, 7th, 8th, that kind of likes. This is the number 9 car, Oulton at the moment, who started this lap in 12th position in category. I think it's a little bit higher than that because Croft, who's there in the 55, started this lap in 8th in category. This is back to the lead of the category though, and you'll never guess who's at the top. Yep, it's Ali Topley, the driver who absolutely dominated the previous race here at Oulton Park. Is once again back at the front of the field and running very well around this Oulton Park circuit. It's Topley, then leading from Winter, then Graham behind. Then there is the running of Langford, then Ballantyne and Howard, then Gray, then Croft, then Wynn, and Hall, the top 10 in the ZTEC category. It's Baker from Clark, Appleton, Mitchell and Watts, the top 5 overall. And of course the 5 positions being raced in that ST250 category. Ferrari Mackenzie, by the way, has just gone from the rear end of the field. Has gone up 5 positions this lap. Currently runs in 8th position in the ZTEC category. So has gained a fair amount, as we'll see. Move happening here. The 28 there, Pemberton, getting past, I believe, that... I was going to say it was the 99 of Hall, but I'm not sure it was. But we'll take that in a few moments' time. Either way, here's the battle for 3rd position. Mitchell on the rear end of Appleton. This is Knickerbrook, this is Clay Hill, and this is a few cars in pit lane, including Leo Paniatau. That one's expected. Also joined in the pit lane by Mark McCann as well, the backup car that I was mentioning in the previous race, where basically in practice yesterday had a sizable incident and is now doing today's events in a backup car. It's why it doesn't have the YouTube sponsorship all over it. Basically in that backup car, maybe not quite working to its fullest extent. Mitchell, they're having a bit of a moment there on the brakes as the car was trying to slide around a fair amount into the final corner. But still, Mitchell keeping right onto the rear end of Appleton. Fastest lap of the race in the previous coming in from Lewis Clark. However, it was only 0.2 of a second faster than Jonathan Baker, our race leader. So, as much as I say only, it's because that lead gap, courtesy of the battling when Clark was trying to get past Appleton, that gap is 1.8 seconds. There's only 8.5 minutes left to go in this race. It's not really that long if you're able to work your way up and maybe work your way past. There's Ali Topley, so they didn't really need too much time to get to the front end of the Z-Tech category. And we give him a salute and say bye-bye, because I get the feeling, based on what was happening in the first race, he's about to check out from the rest of the field. The previous lap, he was 2 seconds faster than everyone else in the Z-Tech category. Ali Topley is completely in charge around the Oulton Park Islands layout. Completely in charge. 2 minute 6.7 plays a 2 minute 8.6, a 2 minute 9.6, 2 minute 9.7, and so on. At least 2 seconds faster than the rest of the field. Ali Topley is so fast around here. This, though, is the battle between Croft. This was the battle for 10th position overall. There was Croft, there was the likes of Wynn in there. There was also the 99 of Hall. I think Clementon might have been in touch as well. This is a little bit further up. This is 3rd position in class in the Z-Tech category. It's Graham. You've got Langford behind. And you've got Howard in the number 37 there. You can see the distinctly yellow, black, white, and black, silver, and grey car. Bit of a gap back then to the 49 of Ballantyne, who was previously in 5th position in this category, but Howard has stolen that one away after a bit of a mistake, I think, on the previous lap coming in from Ballantyne. Langford taking a tighter line going through Knickerbrook, meaning that the exit off the corner from Graham should have been slightly better. Should be able to carry out a little bit more speed as they rise up Clay Hill. Gap for the race lead overall, just about to tick under a second. Definitely is under a second. Previous lap was just about 0.8 faster. It was a 1:57.688 for Baker. It was a 1:56.8 for, I think there was a car having a bit of a struggle in the background. We'll talk about that in a moment. 1:56.88 for Clark. I think that car had an issue in the background that I was alluding to. I think that might have been McCann, who's returned to the racetrack. Obviously, it was in, there it is. Bam, it is McCann. Obviously, returned to the racetrack, was in the pit lane having that car serviced, and obviously, whatever's happened to it has not really helped. So I'm sure that car will be taking a swift return into the pit lane. As we'll see this battle for the race lead. Whoa, bit of a mistake there from Lewis Clark as he was trying to get back over the racing line. Misjudged it slightly, clipped the grass. No biggie though. The car is still pointing in the right direction. Most importantly, it's still looking fast in the right direction as well. Right onto the rear end of Jonathan Baker. When they cross the line this time by, there will be 3 laps left to go in this race. So certainly not long indeed. About 5 minutes once they cross the line. It takes about 1:50. It takes nearly 2 minutes to get a lap done as they get the cloud of smoke coming off the rear end of McCann's car at the moment as it will try and return its way to pit lane. Very close between the likes of Baker and Clark. Now back out onto the start-finish straight. Dearleap is ticked off. Onto the start-finish straight they go. Lewis Clark trying to attack. McCann will stay out on the circuit, but of course is running a fair amount slower than the rest, so 6 over to one side. Whopping lap time there, 6:56.1. Cracking lap from McCann. Obviously, because the pit lane sat in the pit lane for a long time there, did McCann. Clark still not able to get through as McCann's struggles continue. God, that car does not look healthy at all. Very unfortunate for McCann. But that's it. Like I say, you go into a backup car of some description, it's never going to be running at the pace and speed. At least from a visual perspective, it looks slightly better than Paniatow's, which got the entire front end ripped off that car. Does return out onto the racetrack looking for some helpful points in the championship. Let's look then at the 55 here at the moment. This is the battle for 10th position in the Z-Tech category. We've got the 99 behind of Richard Hall. You also have the number 6 of Wynn as well, who's currently sat off the rear. This is 10th, 11th and 12th currently fighting in the Z-Tech category. Of course, that overall is 15th, 16th and 17th. But of course, focusing on their categories, the final spot in 7th, 10th, is an important one. Lewis Clark still unable to work his way past Jonathan Baker, so we'll just try and fill the mirrors as best he can, knowing there's only 2 laps left to go once they hit the line. Navigating the lap traffic. That was maybe getting Jonathan Baker slightly offline. There could be an up and under here as they work their way down into Lodge, the final corner really on the track. There comes Clark looking to the inside. Baker defends it brilliantly. They're all switching up left, right and centre, trying to outclass the other. And it's a real dance around the circuit, done brilliantly by Baker and Clark. Clark goes the inside going into the first corner. That was never really going to work, so definitely wasn't there enough. Opportunities ticking away as the final 3 minutes head onto the clock. The final 2 laps of proceedings, the final moments of this race here at Oulton Park. The final moments that could see Clark take a victory, or it could see him settle for second, as he had to do in the previous race when Paniatel was the one who was able to take victory. Will Baker be finishing this race on top spot, or will there be an opportune moment for Lewis Clark? One of the major factors could be that of lap traffic. That could be the major one that plays a part in this race. Interesting, maybe a small point, obviously it could be negligible, that's the reason why. But interestingly that Jonathan Baker has the windows open just a crack. Obviously it's only a small bit, but you can see it there. Just open a touch. That will be creating a fair amount of drag. Probably not enough. Again, it could be negligible, but still. Maybe the temperature difference. Oh, that's the second time that Lewis Clark has tried that, where he tries to get back over to the racing line, misjudges it slightly, and clips the grass. Yeah, what I'm saying is I wonder if it's intentional or not. Obviously, it's going to cool the cabin down a little bit, which is kind of necessary. However, obviously, yeah, it's creating a fair amount of drag in doing so, make it slightly slower in a straight line. Unless it's an issue. It would be unlikely if it was an issue and not intentional that it's happening the exact same amount left to the right, because it's the same on both sides of the car. Just one of those interesting things as to how they're doing it, because if you look at Lewis Clark's car, there is no windows down at all on that car. Here's Wynne. This is, of course, the battle for 11th position against Wynne versus Croft, and now they'll have the race leaders Baker and Clark also come into the scene to start the final lap of the race. Here we go then. What can Baker do? How can he navigate this traffic straight down the inside? Both of Wynne and then of Croft as well. Clark will pick them up on the exit of the corner. Baker continues to lead in the ST250 category. Clark still sits in second, awaiting that important win at Oulton Park. It's not there yet. There was a look to the inside from Clark trying to get past Baker, but there was no opportunity as they head their way into Cascades. There's still a few left to go, including this one here. Are they going to be side by side in the race down into the Island Bend? No, they're not, because with a much better drive, with some clean shifts, it is going to be Lewis Clark into the race lead, getting past Jonathan Baker, and now leads in the ST250 category and overall in the race. Time to get past Richard Hall as well. Must navigate cleanly. Baker goes out wide as they depart the Shell Oils corner. Blue flags are waving as they navigate those back markers, obviously those that are in contention in the ZTEC category. They've got past Hall, they've got past Ferrari McKenzie, who was the white ZTEC car there. They've just managed to work their way through. It should be a relatively clean run. The next car is 8 seconds down the road, so it should be clean all the way to the checkered flag, as we'll see Hall and Ferrari McKenzie make contact, and Ferrari McKenzie has had to take a straight line across the Hislop chicane, rejoining ahead of Richard Hall. Appleton then third in the ST250 class, tries to work his way through, dips 2 wheels onto the grass as well. Goodness me, what an end to the race. A few corners then to tick off. Baker's dropped back, could not keep up with the relentless pace of Lewis Clark, who, denied in the previous race by Leo Paniatel, will not be denied on a second occasion. Into the final corner comes Lewis Clark, and the multiple champion will come across the line to take another victory in the number one. The championship leader is on top once again and wins here at Oulton Park with a last lap move to take over the race lead. It's Clark from Baker, from Appleton as well behind in third. Then we'll wait for Mitchell and Watts, the 2 final drivers in that top 5 of the ST250 category, before we'll await this driver here, Ali Topley, dominant again. Not quite as much as in the previous race, it must be said. That said, did have to start a little bit further down the order. But in the previous race, absolutely flew around the Oulton Park circuit, as we'll see Watts across the line. Yeah, Ali Topley in the previous race was victorious by 17.7 seconds. So this will seem like a tiny margin in the lead as they crossed the line this time by. It was 7 seconds, 10 seconds closer in the previous race. Whoa, so tight. No, that's just how good Ali Topley's been. To win one race by 17 seconds, to win the next race by what will probably end up being close to about 8 or 9 seconds once he crosses the line. It's been an impressive performance in the Powermax ZTEC car. Ali Topley through the final turn, avoiding all dramas to take the clean sweep here at Oulton Park, winning both races in the ZTEC category. It is Ali Topley taking victory once again as we'll begin the fair wait back to see Winter across the line. Not quite as large as the previous race, but it was 7.8 seconds. Absolutely incredible. Graham, then Langford, and we'll see Howard in the yellow car there across the line. Ballantyne behind. We'll wait for Rickaby and Gray as well. But what a drive from this driver here, Lewis Clark. Victorious again. Superb performance. Wasn't easy though. I will say, Jonathan Baker was defending brilliantly through most of that race. Maybe missed a gear a little bit, coming out through and onto the Lakeside Straight on that race down into the Island Bend, getting it slightly wrong and allowing Lewis Clark to fly through. Provisional race results then from the second and final Focus Cup race of the day. It's Lewis Clark victorious by 4.3 seconds. Jonathan Baker really cruised it on home on the final couple of laps and looked after the car, or really the final lap rather, looked after the car. Appleton in third with Mitchell and Watts, the top 5 in the STT 50 category. Onto the ZTECs, and it's Ali Topley ahead of Winter, Graham, Langford and Howard, the top 5 in the ZTEC category. The rest of those being Ballantyne, Rickaby, Gray, Ferrara, McKenzie, who of course straight-lined the Hislop chicane. I've been a battle with Richard Hall. Then it's Wynne, Croft, Pemberton, Sarah Hall, Walton there in 20th position. Of course, the final couple will be Paniatau finishing a few laps down, along with Mark McCann as well, who was able to reach out to the checkered flag as well, despite having a pretty significant technical issue on the car. There is just 2 weekends left to go here in the Focus Cups though, because of course we'll be racing in 2 months' time at Croft, fantastic track by the way, on the 23rd of August. Then one final round at Donington Park National on the 20th of September. Not long to go before we'll be wrapping up this championship and reigning our champion here in the Focus Cup. That's going to be very exciting indeed. Can't wait to see how that unfolds. Can't wait to see if Lewis Clark can do it again. Thank you very much though for joining us here for coverage at the Oulton Park circuit. It's been a lot of fun, been very exciting to see, and once again a very well deserved victory from Lewis Clark. Until a couple of months when we return at the Croft circuit, we'll see you and have a very nice summer. Until then, a very warm goodbye.